What up, good people? How we doing? How we doing? Man, time is 7:15. I can't believe I made it 7:15. Y'all know I need to. Y'all know I say I like to be upstairs writing before 7:15, 7:15 or before, and I made it just in time. As soon as I put this video on, it turned to 7:16. So, what up, good people? And the year is 2025. 2025. Um, yeah. So you know this year, once I get in the groove, this is going to be, excuse me, and a process that flows like a smooth river. Once I get in the groove, because I hadn't gotten the groove. This is Bajillion76. This video is Bajillion76. I hadn't been in the groove yet, y'all. But 2025, I will get in the groove, and this thing will flow like nice calm river. Now you're gonna have some waves and some strong currents and rocks, but you're also gonna have some salmon leaping up, smiling at the camera, that sort of thing. You're gonna have that bright sun always looking down, smiling. Happy birds flying over. You know, a family of geese. Landing in there, playing in the water, deer, all that good stuff. But anyways, that's what I'm saying in 2025 going forward. A lot of things are gonna change up, but for the better. Okay. So anyways, that's what it is. I got my coffee, I got my water, I got some bananas downstairs. Taking me a sip. Should I put on some music? Nah, not today. My stomach is not growling, so. Now Jacob, wait a minute, let me go back up a little bit. I'm trying to close this. I don't think I can close it out. It's all right. We'll leave it there. Y'all can see that. Biting his bottom lip, biting his bottom lip to prevent smiling, the amused father was doing his best to keep his composure as he looked down at his 10-year-old son with what was meant to be a frown on his face. Now, Jacob, he said in a strong whisper, you got to learn how to control that. You can't be out here in nature acting a fool. He turned and wiped his face before adjusting the .22 caliber rifle draped across his back. You got to start taking things a little more serious. What if there was a coon sleeping in the bushes? We could have shot it and take it home to eat. One day you'll be a man. Maybe then you'll see. As the mood fell, Jacob mumbled to himself, Mom ain't cooking no coon. What? What was that? I'm contemplating changing that to what? What was that? Or just leaving it. Let's see. What was that? His father asked. Oh, nothing. I didn't say nothing, said the boy. Standing there, looking over the rippling water as the smiling sun cascaded over little swells that resembled flashing mirrors, Henry's thoughts traveled back to a few days prior when him and his two friends Shug and Lupe had taken a trip to Shug's liquor still, which was hidden not far from the waterhole. Now, right here, I gotta put Lupe at the party if I didn't do it already. Yeah. Shug had concocted a new batch of moonshine. This time, he'd added a handful of raisins. That day was similar to... Let me see. This time, he'd added a handful of raisins. And something extra. Now here, I'm gonna have to travel back. I'm gonna have to travel back to see. Now, for all you guys and girls that know what I'm doing, I'm pulling a magic trick here. There's also a bit of hypnosis going on here, or maybe a subliminal message that's going to the reader who will read this for the first time. When I say something a little extra or let me see. Shug had concocted a new batch of moonshine. This time he'd added This time he added. This time he had added. This time he'd added a handful of raisins and something extra, and a little something extra, and a little something extra. Okay, so right here, I want to say this before, redundancy is something I try to avoid, but sometimes redundancy is done on purpose. So a little something extra, or maybe something extra, or I want to hint at that sentence a little bit earlier. Let me see. Oh, the boy's super juice was lemonade, and his mother had whipped it up with real lemons and honey from a neighbor's beehive. Jacob, being the rascal he was, had taken it upon himself to add a little something extra. I actually remembered that. I remembered that, y'all. Not only did I remember that, 2025 is going to be a good year for me as far as writing goes. And I'm hoping as far as life goes in general. I remembered that I had written that, a little something extra. I'm going to leave it just like that too. So now the reader's going to read a little something extra here. And this is page 6, so I may change it up a little bit, maybe too close. Let's see. Had taken it upon himself to add something extra. Let's say something extra. To add something extra. Let's say that. That way it's not identical. But that's page 6, right? No, this is page 2. That's page 2, and then we come down back to where was it? Oh, it's right here. So it's 4 pages later. That's a good pace. That's a good pace. So now maybe the reader will recognize that. Maybe I need to change a little bit more because that's close. A person who reads really fast can, or a person who's really paying attention will definitely realize that there's a correlation between Jacob adding something extra and Suge adding a little something extra. See what I'm saying? And I got an incense. I got my incense burning right here in my little pot. That smells so good. Alright, so I'm going to change that even more. Suge had concocted a new batch of moonshine. This time I'm going to say he, man. I don't know. The editor, a good editor will fix that. This time he added a handful of raisins and a little bit more. And a little something. We'll leave it there right now. Let's see. I added. Suge had concocted a new batch of moonshine. This time he added a handful of raisins. Along with a surprise. See what that looks like. Suge had concocted a new batch of moonshine. This time he added a handful of raisins along with a surprise. Yeah, okay. Raisins along with a surprise. along with a surprise substance. So now it doesn't. Now it doesn't. It kind of cuts it off with what Jacob's doing. But I really do want. I want the average person to not realize it, but subconsciously pick it up. But at the same time, I don't want people to pick it up, as a definite correlation. So, Suge had concocted a new batch of moonshine. This time he added a handful of raisins along with a little surprise. Okay. A little surprise ingredient. Alright, let's see. A surprise ingredient. Ingredient. This time he added a handful of raisins along with a surprise ingredient. Okay. Now let's go back up to page 2. Let's go back up to page 2. Where am I right now? That's page 4. Alright. Being the rascal he was, Jacob, being the rascal he was, had taken it upon himself to add something extra, despite the little extra being much more than that. Jacob, being the rascal he was, had taken it upon himself to add an extra ingredient. Despite the little extra being much more than that. Being much bigger than that. So now what I'm doing is I'm connecting the two with the word ingredient. You know what I mean? You gotta be kind of sneaky to be a good writer. Alright. Let's see. The boy's super juice was lemonade that his mother had whipped up with real lemons and honey from a neighbor's beehive. And the neighbor is Suge. Jacob, being the little rascal he was, had taken it upon himself to add an extra ingredient, despite the little extra being much bigger than that. Being bigger than that. Despite the little extra being much bigger than just that. Much bigger than just that. We'll see. Alright, so let's take it back down. Let's take it back down to the ground. Okay. Suge had concocted a new batch of moonshine. This time he added a handful of raisins along with a surprise ingredient. That day was similar to the present day, and as the men were walking, Henry's friend and fellow lumberjack noticed something. "Oh, Hank, look at this," said Lupe, pointing to a huge steaming mound of wood chips. "Devil's bread," Suge mumbled at the sight. "What?" Henry asked. "They're mushrooms, psychedelic mushrooms," Lupe added in his Spanish accent. Suge's attention peaked after hearing Lupe's claim. "So," Henry replied, Hold on, just hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on, just wait one doggone minute, Hank. Don't be so quick to judge, Suge interjected. Just how psychedelic we talking here, Cheese? He asked. Plenty enough, Lupe. Plenty enough, Lupe said. I don't want to do a Spanish accent, y'all. Y'all gotta forgive me, but you guys use your imagination. Coming from a family in Veracruz, Mexico, where peyote and magic mushrooms were common use, consumed by spiritualists for ceremonial purposes, Lupe was shocked when he saw psilocybe carucin, carulicins, also known as landslide mushrooms. Listening to Lupe explain the effects of the drug, Suge had an idea. Using Lupe's expertise, he picked a handful and placed them in a pouch. Early in the year, Suge had given his son, Frederick, a few gallons of corn liquor while he was visiting from New Jersey. Soon the visits increased along with the demand for more product. Being the person he was, his son saw it as an opportunity to get rich quick, regardless of who was involved in the scheme. Sometime around visit 3, Suge remembered Frederick saying something about the liquor being so good that he could sell it on the black market to the right people, connected people, is how he'd put it. But his father had no interest in the money or his son's connected people, and as a deterrent, Suge, in his infinite wisdom, thought that spiking the liquor with mushrooms would be the thing to send the shiesty group laughing and ultimately crying in horror on their way. Now, at this moment, some readers, a lot of readers maybe, are gonna realize what little Jacob has in his thermos. Okay? And that's not a bad thing. But for the ones who don't realize it right now, when it finally does hit them, it's going to give them a hit of dopamine. And dopamine is a reader's best friend. Dopamine is a reader's best friend because people read for the dopamine hit. People go on Facebook for the dopamine hit. People watch movies for the dopamine hit. People have sex, eat, plant seeds in their garden, exercise, talk, sing, dance. We live for that dopamine hit. The thing is, you want it to be a pure hit. If you're going to be selling a hit, if you're going to be selling dopamine, which that's what writers do, good writers, I mean, if you cut through all the chase, get right down to it, it's all about selling dopamine. And dopamine is one of the it's a strong chemical that your brain releases, that your brain makes. Your brain makes it when you have a dream at night. I have dreams every night now, thank God. It's dopamine causing those dreams. Like I said, when you're on Facebook and you're looking at some gossip, you're looking at, oh girl, who's this? Who's this guy she's hugged up with? Ain't she married? That's dopamine. When you're at work talking to your friends about the coworker that just walked off from the conversation, gossip, that's the dopamine hit. So when the reader realizes, oh, there's something going on here with Jacob, blah blah blah, yeah, that's gonna be boom, boom, boom. I was reading Misery by Stephen King, and there's a scene in that book, man. The book is so well written that you can visualize everything that's going on, like immediately. It's a few books like that I read. Misery being one of them. The guy was laying in bed. I think she was about to break his legs or whatever she was doing. It was a scene that was so funny. I laughed for about 10 minutes straight, and it was a different laugh. You have laughters that, when you're in conversation with your family and friends and somebody says something funny, or maybe somebody farts on accident, or, whatever it is. My grandma used to make me laugh all the time. She used to make me chuckle. Like if you watch Delirious, Eddie Murphy Delirious, like for the first time in a long time, or watch a good Dave Chappelle stand-up, or Kevin Hart, or whoever your guy is, Gary Owens, whoever your guy is, they can induce laughter. That's just good laughter. But when you're reading something and everything's quiet and you're in a quiet place, it just so happened that I was working in Charleston at Boeing, and I used to have a work van, and I get there early in the mornings. I get and read a little bit. The first thing I do is I pull out my book and read a little bit. And I was reading this, and it's nice and quiet. I'm on the flight line. No planes are coming in. No noise. And all of a sudden, I hear this eruption. I hear this loud eruption of like deep, like from your gut laughter. And then I realized it was me. And I'm like, this is different. I couldn't stop myself from laughing. I knew that I was sucked in somehow by Stephen King, because it was a lead up to it. It wasn't just all of a sudden he wrote something funny. No, it was a lead up to it. And it was all these little subtle little hints that led up to this point. And then it was more laughter throughout the book. But Misery, a book titled Misery, made me laugh harder than any other thing ever. It was, I won't say harder, but it was just a different, uncontrollable laughing. Almost like I was high. I was high on some drug, funny gas or something. That's what it was. And it was that dopamine hit. According to Frederick, the Northerners loved the stuff and wanted more. Money swapped hands, more money than expected, as a bonus from the family. And it wasn't long before Frederick owed more product than his father could make. He became indebted to the Bianchi family and old Italian New Jersey crime syndicate. Excuse me. This coffee got me burping. I'm gonna relight my incense here, y'all. Give me a second. There we go. All right. The raisins along with the apples. Let's see. Sometime after the concoction was made, and despite having added the mushrooms, small portions were poured into cups, and a taste test was done. The raisins along with the apples cut the bitterness, gave it more sweetness, while the mushrooms did something neither Hank nor Suge ever wanted to try again. After only a taste from all three men and a half an hour of fishing, the first trip came on. It was unlike anything Suge had ever experienced, and he'd been to Vietnam at a time when it was common practice to literally use shotguns as marijuana bongs. The sky turned to fluorescent purple, while birds began singing Motown's greatest hits. There were blue jays. There were 4 blue jays sitting on a limb of an old magnolia, whistling "Just My Imagination." The early morning sun was smiling and singing along. But then things took a swing. The sun that had been happy one second began grimacing. The trees went from stiff and erect to wobbling, as if they'd suddenly turned to rubber. I may change that. You know, those things you see at a car dealership that, air is blowing through them and they're waving, you know, the tall things that have little like faces. I don't know what the name of those things though. Let me see. The trees went from stiff and erect to wobbling as if they suddenly turned to rubber. I don't know what you call those things. Let me see if I can figure it out. Went to waving frantically. As though what do you call those things? Let me see. Let's see. Let's go on this venture together, y'all. Just my imagination. The things at used car lots that have air blowing through them, waving. See what Google has. Oh, okay. Oh, inflatable tube men. Okay. Let me see some images. Yep, that's them. That's them. They call them inflatable tube men. Inflatable tube men, air dancers, or sky dancers. I might use both of them. I might use both. Let's see. All right. The trees went from stiff and erect to waving frantically as though inflatable air dancers. As though inflatable air dancers. Urging the men to come buy a certified used car. Yeah. The trees went from stiff and erect to waving frantically as though inflatable air dancers urging the men to come buy a certified used car. Yes, yes, yes. The birds grew sharp teeth as let's say the trees went. Oh, it's burning good now. Can y'all see this? I got it set up now. It's burning. Look at that. Y'all smell what I'm cooking over here? It smells good. I think it's a combination of frankincense and lavender, and it's all kind of stuff. Let me see. This is what it comes in the box. It came in some kind of Arabic writing on here. I don't have my glasses on, y'all. So. Excuse me. I know it's frankincense and all kind of other stuff, but it's burning good now. And I put a piece of charcoal in there. That charcoal wasn't getting the right air, so I relit the charcoal and stood it on the side. So now it's getting the air underneath it and all that stuff. It's burning now, y'all. It's burning good too. Um, Let me show you that one more time. Look at this. This is what it's supposed to look like. So when I write, I like to have good smells going, man, for some reason. And this is smelling really good. The sun that had been happy 1 second began grimacing. The trees went from stiff pleasantly stiff and erect. I don't want to say pleasantly. The trees went from stiff and erect to waving frantically as though inflated air dancers, urging the men to come buy a certified used car. The birds grew sharp teeth as some flew in close to the men. See, I don't want to, this is a bad trip. I never had I never done mushrooms, so I don't know what a mushroom trip is like. But I did some research online. I've actually spoken to some people who've had some bad trips. So I'm basing it on that. I've had some bad trips, but it wasn't from marijuana. I mean, it was from marijuana, basically. Yeah, paranoid, early 2000s. Yes, some serious paranoia. Anyways, the trees went from stiff and erect to waving frantically as though inflatable air dancers, urging the men to come buy a certified used car. The birds grew sharp teeth. And so right here, this section right here, if you're looking at it, the trees went from stiff and erect. No, I'm sorry. Let's go back further. But then things took a swing. The sun that had been happy 1 second began grimacing. So that's 1 point I'm making. The sun went from happy to grimacing, which, a grimace is like looking mean. The trees went from stiff and erect to waving frantically as though inflatable air dancers, urging the men to come buy a certified used car. So that next sentence, it's neutral. It's not saying what they are. It's just saying that they just went from regular trees to something different. So, and I don't want to keep driving in that. I don't want to keep driving home the fact that things are looking mean. I don't want that. I don't want to do that. I want to take you up and bring you back to neutral. Okay. Or I want to put you in one direction. It could either be up or down, but then bring you back to neutral. Because neutral would be the trees went from stiff and erect to waving. That's just a curious. Like, am I tripping? What's going on? What's up with these trees? Are these trees really? Is that the wind making them do that? Or so? Then I bring it back to the birds grew sharp teeth as some flew in close to them. That's kind of scary. Birds don't have teeth. So I go from scary, the sun. Can you imagine the sun look with a face looking mean at you? All right, so I think that's good. Realizing the effects of the substance, Hank immediately poured what remained in his cup into the pond. Hours later, the drug had died down some, but still doing things they had no control over. Both Hank and Suge had gone on an adventure they were not anticipating. While the two men vowed to never touch the stuff again, Lupe wanted more because Lupe's had it before. Describe the trip in more detail. Okay, I can delete that. Coming down, however, totally down, some 8 hours later, after the Temptations and the Supremes had played their final number, Suge decided the new concoction would be the perfect deterrent to give to his deviant son and the crime family. Mention Suge's party. Mention Suge's party. Mention Suge's party right here. Okay, coming down, however, totally down, some 8 hours later, after the Temptations and the Supremes had played their final number, Suge decided the new concoction would be the perfect deterrent to give to his deviant son. Suge decided that when the time was right, the new concoction would be the perfect deterrent to give to his deviant son and the crime family. Hey, what are you staring at? Someone asked. Daddy. Hey, Dad. Huh? Oh, nothing. Just nothing, the man replied after coming back to reality. Now be careful with that big old thermos and bucket. Remember to have Jacob sip from the thermos. Huh? Oh, nothing. Just nothing, the man replied after coming back to reality. Now be careful with that big old thermos and bucket. Making all that doggone noise. Just try to be quiet, said Henry. Shortly after continuing on through the thick green wall of vegetation, Jacob, taking a gulp from his thermos while carefully following behind his father, Shortly after continuing on through the thick green wall of vegetation, Jacob, taking a gulp from his thermos while carefully following behind his father, Henry gave the boy the sign to stop. Turning to face his son, the man whispered, "Gator in the pond." He pointed to a section next to the path they were on, and for some uncanny reason, Jacob replied with a mischievous giggle. Now, for all of you all watching my videos, you know that by now Jacob has something in that thermos, and you can guess what it is. I just got to get to the point to where I explain in detail how it got in the thermos, and I got to also build up who Jacob is. And I say right here that it was a mischievous giggle, but I want to, because I'm gonna tell you why. It's been 39 minutes. It's my first video in 2025. This is a good sign, y'all. It's been 39 minutes, going on 40 minutes. My first book published, Save Miss Caroline. Y'all go check that out. Check out all my books. I was told that the main character was too reserved. He wasn't, I guess, reserved, meaning he wasn't the typical kid that you would see, the typical 10-year-old boy that you would see in books. So, now this story was written back in 1999. And this is way before Save Miss Caroline came out. I wrote this in Phoenix, Arizona, while I was there. So I had no idea about character building your character and all these different things. I just wrote a story. Going back over it, I'm like, okay, I need to make him a little bit more mischievous. All right, so we're at 40 minutes, almost 41 minutes. I'm not going to stop right now. I'm just going to highlight this real quick and go up to here. And because we're moving on. I just want to say for everybody who's reading who's following along, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Is that black? I just want to make this black. There we go. Let's go back down to the purple. Make that black. Because we're moving on. Moving on. Moving on. Moving on. Moving on. Moving on. Play that. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about. Y'all have no idea what I'm talking about. Some of y'all do.
They said if you falsely accuse somebody.
His name is Gregory something. This ain't it. I'm gonna just play a quick second because I don't want to get. Eventually, Gregory Porter. Eventually, my page would be my page will be monetized again. But check this out.
I feel just like a kite.
No, that's not it. This is the guy, but man, he had a tiny desk. Gregory Porter. Let me see if I got him in my because if I really like the music, if I don't have it, I'm gonna get it. But Gregory, yeah, I do. Take me. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't believe this. This is going to be a good year. This is going to be a great year. I was looking up Gregory Porter, but I didn't even know his name, and I typed in "moving on" in YouTube, and he came up. But the name of the song was "Moving." The name of the song I'm thinking about is not even moving. It's not moving on. It's holding on. Holding on. So let's do this. Oh, I don't care.
I thought that it would be easier than this. I thought my heart had grown colder. But the warmth of your kiss I can't dismiss. Though my past has left me bruised, I ain't hiding from the truth. When the truth won't let me lie right next to you.
Come on now.
But it's holding on, and it's holding strong. Even though I tried to make it play the part, but I can't fake it. It keeps holding on, and it's holding strong.
Oh.
Even though I tried to break it, Heaven knows that I can't shake it.
Holding on. Holding on. YouTube is definitely going to definitely going to pick that one up. That's okay. If y'all made it this far, it's 45 minutes, man. If y'all made it this far, you are a trooper, and you are in for quite the surprise. I'm telling you. Let's keep on moving on. Shortly after continuing on through the thick green wall of vegetation, Jacob taking a long gulp. Yeah. Long gulp from his thermos while carefully following behind his father. Henry gave the boy the sign to stop. Turning to face his son, the man whispered, "Gator in the pond." He pointed to a section next to the path they were on, and for some uncanny reason, Jacob replied with a mischievous grin. The ground showed a fresh trail of mud. The grass was pushed down and still wet from the heavy body of whatever aquatic animal that had gone across. It had been the same spot Shug said he'd seen a young alligator sunbathing the week prior. Going to one knee, the man signaled for his son to come closer. "But, Daddy, if the trail is still wet, wouldn't that mean that the gator is out of the water?" asked the boy. The father smiled at his son. My goodness, I'm going to have to put some music back on. All of a sudden, my stomach is growling. The father smiled at his son as a feeling of pride came over him that only a father could know. Jacob was a straight-A student whose biggest issue in school was being a disturbing element. At least that's what the note read, next to other words from Mrs. Hughes, Jacob's science teacher, requesting a meeting from the parents. Throughout the school year, he'd often get letters sent home by agitated teachers complimenting the parents on a job well done, but also complaining about how the boy insisted on asking questions that came at various times and sometimes long after the lesson had changed. Mainly, the issue was that the questions went too in-depth, and more than once he'd called the teacher out on a contradiction, like when Mrs. Hughes wore a gold cross, but taught so passionately about how humans came from monkeys and how the universe was formed by some huge random explosion. I feel confident, so this is going to be green. This is now green. Let's see, standard. And we'll pick it back up. Been 48 minutes, y'all. I'm glad y'all held on. Holding on. Oh, that was way off key. Anyways, this is the tone. I'm setting the tone for 2025 today. It's gonna be at least 50 minutes. Well, I won't say that. It's gonna be at least 15 minutes. But if I can do another 50-minute video in high spirits like this, hey, y'all hold on. Hold on. Gregory, what was his name? I'm gonna go out with that. Gregory Porter. It's been fun. Y'all hit that like, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment.
Weight of love on my shoulder.
This is Anthony L. Kelly.
I thought that it would be easier.
I thought it would be easier than this, y'all.
I thought my heart had grown colder.
I thought my heart had grown colder.
But the warmth of your kiss I can't dismiss. My past has left me bruised.
There we go.
I ain't hiding from
The truth.
when the truth won't let me lie right next
to you. Come on, bring it back.
But it's
Holding on.
and it's holding strong. Even though I tried to make it, played the part, but I can't fake it. It keeps holding on.
All right, y'all.
And it's holding strong.
I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Even though I
Till
tried
next
to
time.
break it, heaven
I'm out.
knows that I can't
Holding on.
shake